Hello and welcome back again to Rage Gaming and more Baldurs Gate 3. Today I'm tackling an important topic that's come up a lot in the comments of recent build videos we've been making. Basically, will this build work at earlier levels? Will it work at Act 1 or 2? So today I'm going through 10 awesome picks for those earlier levels, earlier game builds that's strong sooner. The idea then is to create a list of picks that are going to be strong based on their merits of the actual class levels compared to, say, specific items that make a build work. And while this won't be a multi-class dependent list, a lot of what we'll talk about will be a mix of classes. Leveling just one of any class is going to be great, but multi-classes often provide potent power spikes, which we want to talk about. For these suggestions, we'll cap things out at a total level of 9 maximum, but there will be many cases where we talk about lower levels. With all that said, let's get into the builds. We'll start with two classic strong as hell picks to essentially get them out of the way. First up, the Gatling Fist Monk. Even in the early game, it's really good, and it's one of the strongest builds in the game. You start as a monk, and you push your levels to 5 in said monk, taking the open hand subclass. This leads to the core concept of Flurry of Blows, a bonus action attack which has 2 punches land for 1 bonus action and a key point. The monk benefits from unarmored defense and overall has great movement speed thanks to the monk passives. At level 3 you get Deflect Missiles, which provides you with more survivability, giving yourself a way to use a reaction to reduce incoming damage of ranged attacks. At level 4 you get your first feat, which would be spent in various ways, but of course we need to highlight Tavern Brawler. It will update your unarmed attacks to add your strength modifier twice to the damage and attack rolls, which is huge. At this point, you could even consider respecking your monk so that, you know, your strength and dex and wisdom levels balance better with that in mind. Tavern Brawler is extremely potent for 1 feat, especially in this setup. Finally, at level 5, you get extra attack, letting you have multiple attacks per action, and also use the bonus action to Flurry of Blows, so it's already a lot of attacks at level 5. We're already really good here, and I do think it's one of the stronger things you can get ASAP. Just level 5 monk with Tavern Brawler, right? But to continue to level this and push more power spikes, we could consider multi-classing into Rogue. At level 3 Rogue, we get our subclass of Thief, a very popular pick for the second bonus action passive that it provides. With that, we have an insane ability to Flurry of Blows twice a turn and use extra attack for our main action attacks. It feels like you're hasted all the time. So it's no secret that the Gatling Fist Tavern Brawler monk style build is nuts, but hopefully this explains how to get it going in the earlier levels. Second up, for obviously strong and well-known builds, in my opinion anyway, is the dual hand crossbow builds. The interesting thing about this one is that there's a few ways to make it work, but I'd say the most impactful way is to simply run Bard under College of Swords. Weapon flourishes are really good, but specifically for ranged, there's the flourish attack Slashing. It sounds like you need to attack 2 different targets with it to work, but you don't. You can literally attack the same target with both shots like an extra attack, just as 1 move. With dual weapons then, you can obviously use the offhand for a bonus action, so initially at just level 3 in College of Swords Bard, you could attack 3 times. Plus, back at level 2 in Bard, you get the insane Song of Rest for an extra short rest, 3 in total, and Jack of all trades, which is just really nice for a party face. College of Sword Bard also provides the fighting style choice, letting us get 2 weapon fighting, adding your ability modifier to the offhand attacks. We'd want to push this Bard to level 6 straight away though, ultimately getting the extra attack passive so we can go ham multiple times with main action attacks, followed up by the bonus action offhand attacks. Once we're at level 6, we also have a few spell slots to work with, and then we can really consider the multi-class. Common suggestions for this are either Fighter or Rogue. Rogue at level 3 for Thief naturally will provide the second bonus action passive, meaning 2 offhand attacks a turn, which can't really be understated. On the other hand, you have Fighter, which is another fighting style pick. Specifically, we'd go for Archery for a +2 bonus to attack rolls with ranged weapons. And also, you'd get Action Surge, once per short rest, get an extra action during combat. Either pick is good, but I will say that 8 Bard and 4 Rogue endgame at level 12 is very good, and you would have 3 feats for that build overall. But yeah, dual hand crossbow builds are strong as hell, and I think the only thing really holding it back is actually getting your hands on a pair of them as soon as possible. Speaking of straightforward power though, let's talk about Fighter. Honestly, it's just a quick one to talk about because we aren't even thinking about a multiclass here. Pure power ASAP, Fighter's got to be a top tier pick, specifically under the Battle Master subclass. Pure Fighter leveling is one of the best options. You get bonus feats and improved extra attack. It's brilliant. Early game, as early as level 5 though, things get silly. At level 1 you have your fighting style. Probably you'll go for great weapon fighting with a 2-handed weapon for your build. And at level 2 you get Action Surge for the extra action round once per short rest. At 3 we have Battle Master, which is is fantastic as a subclass. You get the superiority die. Those attacks are so strong and you get this massive list of options. It comes down to your build and playstyle, what you want to take, but I will say Riposte is awesome. It lets you punish missed melee attacks, which will happen often enough. Fainting attack lets you use a bonus action alongside the main action to attack with advantage and deal an extra 1d8 of damage, which is awesome when you aren't really able to do much with a bonus action anyway. Then I personally love something like, say, menacing attacks for a fear or disarming attack to control a fight when dealing with a stronger foe. But following on from that, at level 4 you have your first feat. Probably it'll be Great Weapon Master for the passive perks of that. Crits or kills will net you an extra melee weapon attack for a bonus action that turn, and your attacks will deal an extra 10 damage for the -5 attack roll penalty. Finally, at level 5, you get the all-important extra attack passive itself. So lots of options, high damage potential, control or decided burst, and many attacks a turn, all as early as level 5. So I think it might be the best pure class to level for early leveling and power spikes in that way. Next up, for number 4, what about a setup that has its biggest moment before Act 3? The concept is all about wild-shaped Druid builds because they aren't really getting the same value out of gear compared to other builds. And there's that classic concept of a tanky Druid, a raging Bearheart-based barbarian multiclass in which you rage and then swap to your wild shape of your choice. Overall, say 6 levels into Moon Druid and just 3 into Barbarian would net you everything you'd need. Druids get their subclass early at level 2, where we can pick up Circle of Moon. At level 4, it's a feat and various cantrip options. An extra attack in the form of Wild Strike follows on from that. Basically an extra attack when making an unarmed strike during wild shape forms. Finally, at level 6, you get your Owlbear wild shape, which has a massive health pool of 65 hit points, which actually increases as you level the Druid more. On the other hand, we have the following 3 levels for Barbarian, which basically halves most incoming damage types, including physical, which is the most important. Wildheart Barbarians can choose Bearheart, which provides the Bearheart Rage. This rage makes you ultra tanky for 10 turns, just as long as you make sure to attack at least once every turn to maintain it. So you'd start a fight and make sure to go into your rage, then get into your wild shape ASAP to become an ultra tanky, high hit point, massively reduced incoming damage thing, getting right up in there to distract enemies and be an ultimate meat shield. You could do that even in, say, standard bear form, even earlier than the Owlbear. So if you want a really tanky option and ASAP, this could be a good pick. Alright, moving on, a quicker one on a really good class combo that gets going early. It's the obvious pick of Paladin and Bards together, with both scaling their spells via Charisma. You could take any of the Paladin Oath subclasses really, coming in at level 1 Paladin, and then at level 2 Paladin you've got your Smites. Meanwhile, you could make a nice push to level 6 with a Bard multiclass, on the way picking up College with Swords, giving us the all-important weapon flourishes and great spell slots for your Smites. At level 6 you get the extra attack and more. As I said earlier, Bards make an incredible face for the party with our high charisma and jack of all trades passive. We'll get 3 short rests for the team, strong main action attacks through flourishes, and follow-ups with smites that we can upcast when relevant. Also controlling enemies with, say, the Bard spells, or just go ham on the damage. It's very versatile and really effective whether you're dealing with scenarios in combat or out. So I'm a big fan of this classic combo, and I find it very effective early on. You could be as low as level 5 with both subclasses ready to go, 2 in Paladin and just 3 in Bard. Okay, moving on to something very potent, one for the spellcasters. The classic lightning-based combo of Tempest Cleric and Storm Sorcerer. The ability to use Destructive Wrath, thanks to the Cleric, on your Sorcerer spells, making them deal max damage. One of my favourite spells, especially early, is Chromatic Orb, which once per short rest, even early on, can be boosted by your Destructive Wrath. You could upcast a lightning version or thunder version of the Chromatic Orb for an easy 32 damage potential or more per short rest. Then you imagine the enemy is already wet at the time, meaning, say, the lightning spike will double your damage on those wet targets, and things get deadly fast. The Cleric provides that Create Water for exactly that, and then the Storm Sorcerer has all of its own perks. The awesome spells like Lightning Bolt at level 7 can be very potent, and we can even think about Twin Casting Haste for the insane power of that. It's a well-known powerful build, and the Tempest Cleric and Storm Sorcerer combo is just really good even early. And this is great because it's just about the raw spells and passives involved, no gear or special items needed. Alright, next, another big one. This is an earlier version of Josh's Immortal Warlock. It's all about the combo of Armor of Shadows that comes from the Warlock and Mage Armor via the Wizard. This special interaction allows for quick max stacking of Arcane Wards, which would greatly reduce incoming damage. With this combo, we can cast Mage Armor over and over and over, which stacks up the Arcane Ward. We can do that because it actually costs no spell slots, thanks to the Warlock's Armor of Shadows. The Arcane Ward comes from Abjuration Wizard and provides a sort of barrier that that protects you from harm. Each time you cast an abjuration spell, you increase the intensity of that ward. Each time you take damage, the ward blocks an amount of that damage equal to the current intensity. Basically, with this setup, you always have max stats of Arcane Ward going into a fight, and we can do that as early as level 5. It'd be -6 damage whenever hit, which is fantastic as early as this. Since you're basically playing a wizard with just 2 warlock levels, you focus on int and level wizard mainly, focusing on picking up abjuration spells, to help stack the ward back up during combat. Overall though, at level 5 we just need 2 levels in warlock to net the armor of shadows, and level 3 in wizard would have you with both the subclass and at least a 2nd level spell slot. We do have a full build video on the true immortal build if you are interested in that. Alright, how about a change from spellcasting to assassinating? A popular build that's always fun to try is that classic mix of Gloomstalker Ranger and Assassin Rogue. And we can get this really going at level 6. A Rogue is a smooth leveling experience. Just go from 1 to 3 for the subclass, where we will pick up the Assassin, with 3 subclass features, passives that start to work overtime for us from here on out. Against enemies who haven't yet taken a turn, we have advantage on our attack rolls. Any successful attack roll against a surprised aka ambushed enemy is going to be a guaranteed crit, so big burst potential to open a fight. And lastly, the Assassin will simply restore its action and bonus actions that you used to initiate the combat. So the whole idea is what you'd expect. Start a fight from the shadows, surprise the enemies, and try to kill a specific target before it even gets to go. Combine that with Ranger and we make it even stronger. The Ranger gets Favored Enemy and Natural Explorer for specific perks, and a fighting style which might be ranged in this case for the improved burst from the shadows. At level 3 though, we get the subclass of Gloomstalker, providing a pile of things, like Dread Ambusher for the +3 to initiative, meaning we always get to go first, and there's also this extra attack dealing another 1d8 of damage. There's the Dread Ambusher Hide bonus action, letting us stick to the shadows for more surprise attacks. Umbral Shroud helps with that as an action to turn invisible when obscured, and overall this combo allows for a big burst when opening a fight that's on our terms like a true assassin. We aim to kill targets fast, and with all these perks we should be able to. The high initiative allows us to push to take our turn first and make that all happen by as early as level 6. If we follow on from that and push the Ranger to level 5, you also get extra attack for another way to deal more damage in your opening turn before they can even react. Next up, for early game powerful picks though, we should also highlight the power of obscured vision. The clouds that obscure like darkness, or even say classic fog clouds. In this case, we're looking at Warlock for ultra low level powers. A level 3 Warlock with darkness and the Devil's Sight Eldritch Invocation is very potent. You get to see normally in darkness, while enemies in that darkness cloud become heavily obscured, meaning they're blinded, and you can't make ranged attacks into this cloud or out of it without that special dark sight. Blinded enemies have disadvantage on attack rolls and reduced range for attacks and spells down to just 3 meters. And our own attacks against said blinded enemies also have advantage, so it's just a cherry on the top. Basically, drop a cloud like this on targets and just go to town, being an absolute nightmare to deal with. You can play around it for the rest of your party though, we don't want to blind them, having them set up around the edge of the cloud, punishing any enemy that tries to leave. Or you could go hard and make all 4 party members multiclass into just 2 levels of Warlock, pick up that dark vision passive, going ultra hard on this concept, and yeah, kind of making a nightmare for the enemies. A very fun party-based concept. Lastly though, for our final pick, we have one that I mentioned in the Multiclass series, but lower level, a true support that's both great for healing and strong buffing. It is ultimately a triple class though, Sorcerer, Bard and Cleric. To start with, you get level 1 Storm Sorcerer going, which provides concentration saving throw proficiency, important to keep our blesses going, or long-term hastes. It'll give us a bonus action flight, meaning we can move through combat wonderfully, or just explore the game generally. At level 2, we pick up Cleric for its life domain subclass, providing Disciple of Life, a passive to boost all healing, and Bless, a main concentration buff for the early levels. We also get amazing spells from the Cleric to keep the team alive, like Sanctuary and Command, and at level 3 we go for the 3rd subclass of Bard, which will be our main push for spell slots and all kind of passive perks. At level 4 total, we'll have level 2 in Bard for the Strong of Rest and Jack of all trades, making us a great party face, and also keeping the party going with 3 short rests. At a total level of 5, we can push Cleric to level 2, which nets the Preserve Life heal skill, scaling your healing up each time the party levels up. Then from here on out for this early version, we just push Bard to say level 6, a total level of 9 in the mid game. We'd want College of Law as a subclass, where we get cutting words to mess with enemy attack rolls or say saving throws, using that to prevent nasty hits coming in or when we really want our own attacks to land. We can also get a feat at level 4 Bard, like Alert, so we can always go first and kind of set up the fight. But most important is level 6 Bard, where we get magical secrets, where we can finally pick up haste. So on the way to that, we use our concentration to bless the team the whole time, and at level 9, swap that over to haste for an even stronger buff. Long term, you push Sorcerer levels from here to get twin casting, so you could double haste every fight. But for us, we care about, early game blessing and eventually replacing that with haste. From this, we get fantastic buffs, brilliant mobility, potent healing, good control options. It is just an ultra good support build that really starts to shine from level 4 onwards, I'd say. But there you have it, our list of awesome builds to consider in the earlier game before Act 3. None of these require items to really work, though naturally ideal sets and items will exist to find even in Act 1 and 2, let alone 3, but these builds stand on their own legs. If you guys have any other suggestions of your own, you can drop them in the comments, or maybe just thumbs up ones you'd like to help others. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thank you for watching, we'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.